Now, we're asking for your personal views this morning. You don't represent, as it were, the views of the production house you work for, but what's your personal interest in Death Magnetic?
Well, I've got a professional opinion about it, and I've got a personal opinion. Professionally speaking, if the band were made aware of the pros and cons of what they were doing when they made the record and they decided to go with it, that's their decision, and they're within their rights to do that. But looking at it from a technical standpoint, it's about half, again, as loud as any other Metallica CD and most other heavy rock CDs that are out there. It's much more distorted than you would normally expect. I mean, the sound has distorted guitars and things in it, and people use distortion as an effect, but this whole CD is covered in distortion. And it's also digitally clipped. If you look at the waveform in a computer, you can see that the tops of the waveforms have just been sliced off. And that actually means you literally lose information. Bass notes can't be made out. Like you heard the fans saying at the start, you can't pick out the musical details because it's just gone.
So there are two versions of the album being distributed. One's the official CD, and the other is a set of downloadable files. Why are they different?
The files are part of a computer game called Guitar Hero for the PlayStation console. And the idea of the game is you pretend to play a guitar along with the track, and if you get it right, the guitar solo sounds right, and you score more points. So it has the soundtrack. The soundtrack of the game is the album. Now, in order to get the release date of that to coincide with the CD, what they did is they sent the files off to the game company before the decision was made to distort and push the level on this album. So what you've got there is a much cleaner version. I mean, for my taste, it's a little bit too clean. It could do with a bit more kind of grunge and a bit more, to sound a bit more rocky. But it's an interesting comparison with the CD.
Well, let's let people make that comparison. We're going to hear first the game version from Guitar Hero 3. Okay, that's the game version. Here's the CD version now for comparison. Well, I hope people could pick that up over just an ordinary radio set or online, because here in the studio, even I, and I'm not really a heavy metal aficionado, I can tell very distinctly how differently they are. The second one was almost painful to the ears. It seemed to be only about the beat and the noise. The musical element very much drops back. That's the beef, isn't it, Ian?
It is really. I mean, that kind of sound over the course of an entire album is very hard to listen to for anybody, even for a heavy metal fan who likes loud music. Even when you turn it down, there's that much distortion that it becomes fatiguing, it becomes tiring. It makes it harder to listen to the CD, and it makes it harder to enjoy the music.
Now, there's been, as I say, quite a reaction from fans. Almost 16,000 now have signed an online petition to have this CD remixed or remastered. Is that unprecedented in your experience?
Absolutely, yes. I've not known anything like it. Mastering engineers like myself and recording engineers and audiophiles, people who are very keen about audio quality, have been discussing the loudness wars for the last 10 years or so. But you don't have to be an audiophile or have a £1,000 stereo to hear this. Everybody can pick up on this. So the level of discussion has been amazing. And the Metallica fans, you know, have really stood up for themselves and said what they believe in, and I think they deserve credit for that.
Yeah, but they may deserve credit. Do you think they'll get what they're asking for, or will the music industry take notice?
I really hope they will, but I do think in the short term it's unlikely. The band are about to go out on an 18-month tour. The record is selling well. I don't see that there's a huge motivation for the record company at this point, unless that petition really... I mean, it's growing at 1,000 signatures a day, so it's a significant number of people. Whether the music industry will take notice, I really hope so. I really hope that people will start to listen to CDs they buy critically and think, does it have to sound like this? And if not, you know, email the record company, write letters, and that message will gradually start to filter through to people, that people like music that sounds great and that they enjoy, and that they'll buy more of it, which has got to be good for everybody.
Mastering engineer Ian Sheperd. Metallica's record label didn't want to comment in the programme today, but I'm off to buy the CD and play it against my revenge on my teenage children.
Not playing it to me, you're not.